Does he know what I'm going through? Does he just see it as anxiety or stress? Why does it matter? Why do I want him to recognize that I am making a major step in my life? Hi, and welcome. I'm Christine, your emotion coach, and today we're on to journal number 3. I just recently, well, I can't say recently, about a year and a half ago, realized that I am an HSP, a highly sensitive person, and I have like 23 years worth of journals before I knew that I was highly sensitive. And it's fascinating now for me to go back and to like see where there's so clearly this trait of highly sensitive. And, you know, this is where it comes in why I'm sharing these. There's so many tools over the years of just seeking and then trying out so many different tools, right? From Louise Hay and Abraham Hicks and Bashar and Tony Robbins and Derek Rydell and all these different people. So many wonderful tools. And I have kind of tried them and used them and utilized them and journaled through them with them. And now I want to share the best, the things that work for me as an HSP. And I want to take you along for this ride reading my journals. Today, journal number 3 that I'm sharing with you is from March 16th, 2008. Let's get into it. Oh, and at the beginning of this I love this because this is so typical highly sensitive, right? And a lot of ways how I will start my journals is by just like mind dumping, right? Whatever's going on, give that feeling, that emotion, that sensation in your body that seems so unbelievably intense as a highly sensitive, give that a voice, or I guess in this case, write it down, like write it out. It always feels like when I write it down, I get it out of me. It subsides. It no longer feels so huge. So let's get into it. Journal number 3. I'm so mad today. So incredibly angry. I just want to scream at the world and tell everyone to shut up and stop polluting and stop violence and stop lying and cheating and stop making this world so full of hatred. Traffic gets on my nerves so badly. I have the intense desire to get out of the city, away from concrete and traffic and noise and people hurrying to do this and hurrying to do that. I want to live at peace. I have the desire to sit in stillness with monks, meditate, reflect, chant, feel wisdom, fill me, and be at peace. I want to have time to prepare a wholesome meal without feeling the pressure of having to be somewhere or spending too much time on simple tasks. I'm tired of cars. I wish I could walk everywhere. I'm tired of feeling afraid. I want to have enough money to travel and study to develop my potentials. I hate when people pretend. I hate feeling awkward around others, not knowing what to say or do. I hate still thinking about Sebastian. Once again, I've changed all the names in this journal. I hate still thinking about Sebastian, and I hate not having an ending to a love that seemed so extraordinary. I hate feeling like I'm being unfair to my boyfriend now for focusing more on myself and consequently less on the relationship. He has settled here in Austin with his family, being stuck in a house which they can't sell for another 2 years. I will move soon, at least travel, but I also feel like I won't stay long here in Austin. Will he come with me? Will I rip apart another relationship that means a lot to me? I regretted it for a long time, and maybe I still do, breaking up with Sebastian, shattering his heart, possibly destroying the only chance for true love. He is so different now, so heartless, so superficial. I don't really like who he is, yet my heart cannot let go of the love we had. It was so simple, so complete, so einzigartig. Sam is a great guy. He tries so hard to make me happy, and I know he loves me very much. But will our love ever be complete, wholesome, to the point where we can communicate without words and support each other simply by being there for each other in presence? Does he know what I'm going through? Does he just see it as anxiety or stress? Why does it matter? Why do I want him to recognize that I am making a major step in my life? I'm moving into the next phase of consciousness. Maybe that's why everything feels like it's encroaching on me. I need more room, more space around me to breathe and stretch my new tentacles of knowledge and enlightenment. I need peace and quiet and time, undisturbed time, to manifest these truths inside me. I know what I have to do, and I can only hope he understands. I'm not making things more difficult on him. He can decide for himself how much effort to put into our relationship. I'm only asking for a bit of time to focus on myself. It irritates me when he acts like he has more to do than me. He chose his life, and now he is leading it. I didn't choose it for him. I'm not responsible for how much he has to work. I am at peace with myself. I am strong. I make my own decisions. I do not need anyone's approval. I know who I am. I know what type of person I am. People who truly care to know me will see my qualities without me having to prove them. Don't try so hard to make everyone believe you are a great person. Some people do not want to see it. Some people are happier not seeing it. Leave them their peace and create your own for yourself. I know who I am. I love who I am. I'm excited to know there are many more things to learn. Failure simply means it is not my time or type of task to succeed. I will humbly take this answer, failure, in order to find a better time or task more suited to me. If I would succeed all the time, success wouldn't feel as good, and I wouldn't know when to go on with something and when to leave it be. Guides, give me the strength to understand and see the differences between failures that push me to do more and failures telling me to choose a different route. I am at ease. I am in my power. I am at total ease about giving my presentation next Friday. I'm not looking for anyone's approval. I know I will not need public speaking in the future, but if I do, then this is good practice. I will accept my strengths and weaknesses, and I will not hesitate to share them. Others will feel inspired, or they will feel relieved that they aren't the only ones who get so nervous. I do not seek approval from others. I know my own self-worth, and I know I have many talents. Performance is what you do, not who you are. I will inspire people without saying a single word. But for now, let's approach this assignment as a warrior, a samurai, giving it the best I have. There you have it. Journal number 3. What are your thoughts? I would love to hear or read your comments. And here are a couple things that I wrote down that I wanted to share about this journal. Yes, so many times you will read in my journals, I just need to get out of here. This was always a big feeling for me when I got overstimulated. Definitely with like traffic and concrete and all this stuff, getting out of here, meaning getting to a green space, a tree, a forest, a meadow, somewhere where I can be surrounded in nature. But a lot of times for me, those feelings were so big, so intense. It was this urge, this feeling to just like pack my bags, get in the car and drive to a new city, drive to a new state, start over where nobody knows me, just so I could have this like cognito, right? Incognito, nobody knowing me, and I can just be who I am. And then also, when nobody knows me, then I don't have the feeling that I have to be anyone in particular, right? I can just be the crazy new lady in town, right? Oh, I always love those movies where you have like the crazy lady in town. I'm like, oh, but she seems so at home with herself. She seems so authentic. And I was always reaching for that. And I wonder if you ever get that feeling of like, I just got to get out of here. Sometimes in the initial stages of feeling an emotion, it felt so intense. It felt like I'm crawling out of my skin. That's what I always like heard in my head. Like I just need to crawl out of my skin. You know, everything was just too tight, too much, too stimulating, too sensory, right? And then this journal introduced a little bit about relationships. A lot of my journals are going to be about relationships. Love is kind of the big theme all through my life, at least so far, and I'm sure it will continue. But love has always meant so much to me, meaning that one person. I've always wanted to find that one person who just deeply understands you, who gets you, who wants to share his life with you, who wants to be with you. And I would say initially it was probably too focused on that, right? Where I didn't develop other areas in my life. I wish I would have focused a little bit more on career and other things, building friendships. But I can totally see that I used love as my drug, right? As a highly sensitive, I felt so overwhelmed, overstimulated, overpowered by just the crudeness of this world, the harshness of this world. There's so many things flying at me every single day. And the one place where I always felt good, this like floating in timelessness, was with my partner, with my significant other. If I can cuddle with you and lay my head on your chest, I feel at home. I feel like I can stop my thoughts. I feel like I can tune out the rest of the world and just be in this moment. Now, over the years, I taught myself how to do this on my own, how to get to this feeling, to this state on my own. Because truly, it is always you. It always has been you. It is you who is choosing to be in this state of love, in this state of focusing on this other partner, on this person, on this moment, through the eyes of your higher self, through the entirety of your being, you know, bringing in the non-physical. You're focusing yourself into the state of just, beauty, extraordinary moment of just being in bliss. So you can do this on your own. You don't need to have a partner. Do I still want a partner by my side? Absolutely. But I don't need him anymore in order to shelter me, in order to protect me from the harshness and the craziness and the overstimulation coming at me from the world every day. Big difference, right? What else did I want to say about relationships? Yeah, you heard it a little bit where I was like questioning, you know, I do care for this person that I'm in a relationship very much, but I don't know if it's it, you know, I don't know if it's that relationship. And there were already signs that he didn't want to grow with me in that particular relationship. I was with him for quite some time, like 5.5 years through my college years. And we had great resonance in some areas, and we would spend almost every night with each other. So we had a lot of time together. But it was also the time where I started on my spiritual path, you know? I discovered Louise Hay and Abraham Hicks, and oh my gosh, these books meant so much to me. And so I really started going on this spiritual path, and he was not budging. He did not want to have anything to do with it. He actually ridiculed it, you know, ridiculed me for it in front of his family at some point, which was really hard on me. And still I had a hard time letting go. I always had a hard time letting go of relationships because I always see the best in this person. And I cling on to these moments, right? When you have these great moments of like intensely, deeply connecting with somebody, oh my gosh, you kind of hold on to these moments. And I would play them over and over and over again saying, I know it's possible. We felt this kind of resonance. We felt this kind of connection. So I know we can do it again. Unfortunately, I feel like there's just times when you grow apart, right? I decided to go on my spiritual path. He decided to go on another way. And that's okay. It's just recognizing in time, hopefully, that this is the case and that you're not lingering around hoping that it'll get better or back to this at some point in time. And I felt like even though I was in my 20s, I felt like I had no relationship skills, right? I wish they would teach us that in school. How do you lead a relationship? How do you work on a relationship? How can you begin to understand and know yourself in order to be in a relationship, to be present in a relationship, and in order to work together in a relationship? And then I think I already talked a little bit about this one when I had this quote of saying, everything feels too tight and I need more room to breathe, to be. And I love this imagery from a coach named Derek Rydell. And he has this imagery of being an acorn. Imagine yourself being this acorn and you are in this intense moment of feeling like everything is up in the air. You feel like you're about to burst open. You feel like everything is crumbling in your life. Everything is changing. Everything is going totally different than you expected. Everything is changing. Everything is becoming much different. But what does an acorn do? It has to bust open in order for this shoot to come out, in order for it to be able to grow into a tree. So I often think about that when it's the most tumultuous times in my life. I think of this and it gives me hold. It gives me hope. It gives me that confidence that I'm right where I'm supposed to be in the moment. I'm just reminding myself, I'm like, Christine, you're in a moment of intense growth and it's going to be beautiful when you get on the other side of this. And it's even beautiful through it, right? Now, I mean, especially since I figured out I'm a highly sensitive person, but even before then, I started to embrace that intensity that I felt because I would never, ever, 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 ever want to give it up when I feel it with a lover, right? That intense feeling of love, of streaming love, of being love, ecstasy. Incredible when you're just in this moment of looking over at your partner and saying, you're it. You're amazing, and I want to be with you, and together we can charge life. That's just such an amazing feeling, and I would never give up an ounce of that. And if that means, in turn, I have to feel depression really deeply, anger really deeply, anxiety really deeply, sadness really deeply, grief really deeply, bring it on. Bring it on, because now I have tools. Now I know that I will not get stuck in it forever. And I know that there's always the opposite of that wave. I know I won't be in those dark emotions forever. And I know I will be on top of the world again at some point. Oh my gosh. That is why it's so worth it for me. And I would never give it up, even if I could, being a highly sensitive person, because it is so worth it. So I'm hoping that image of that acorn busting open will also benefit you. Think about it whenever you feel like your life is just turned upside down. What else do we have? This theme of having to prove myself, of having to prove my worth. Ooh, that one you're gonna see drawn through a lot of my journals. Gosh, it took me a long time to find my confidence, to find my self-worth, to really enjoy who I am, because I was so different from my family, from my siblings. And to be honest with you, I got a lot of crap for it from certain people in my life, even from certain family members, which was the hardest part for me, because you're always thinking, my family knows me the best. My family knows me, since I was born, or some who come to the family later, well, they know me since I was like 5 years old or 7 years old. It's like they know me. And if they think this of me, then maybe it's true. Then maybe I am this person. Why do they see me in this way? What am I doing so that they see me in this way? And I became obsessed with like, what do I need to change in order for them to see me differently? But be careful with that. Sure, it's a good kind of check, right? Of like, am I doing this? Am I being perceived as this? Why am I being perceived as this? Do I like being this way? Do I want to change into something different? Always change for you, not for somebody else. And it is so difficult Once a person has made up their mind about you, it's really hard to change it. And oh my God, did I try hard to change it, because it was so important to me, because it was linked so closely to my dad and my dad's love, right? If this person sees me like this and they talk to my dad frequently, what is my dad gonna think about me? So that one was really tough on me. Oh, and I wrote down, people are where they are, their vibrational wavelength, all right? They are where they are on whatever vibrational wavelength they are. And if they're on an ordinary vibrational wavelength, they're not looking at you and your behavior through the eyes of source, through the eyes of love, through the eyes of understanding, through the eyes of empathy. They're not looking through those eyes. They're looking through the whatever vibrational wavelength they're on, through fear, through anxiety, through overstimulation, whatever they're experiencing. This is how they're seeing you and perceiving you. Yes, and I wrote this down and I was like, ooh, this is big. So people are where they are, their vibrational wavelength, and they see through the eyes of their own limiting beliefs. They see through the eyes of their own limiting beliefs. So whatever they think, they see you as this type of person, and they filed away, well, these type of people do blah, 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 blah. They do this, they behave like this, they treat me like that. And so they're viewing you through their own limiting beliefs. Let that sink in. Tell me in the comments what that sparks for you. Deep conversation, right? Highly sensitive. I love it. Another theme that you kind of see a little bit in this journal is that theme of failure. Oh my gosh, I worked on that one a lot too, and kind of led it back to, I think, and I've never talked to my dad about this. I should. I think my dad was somebody who was always a bit afraid and worried about failure and what will other people think, how will they perceive me if they see me failing at this. And so I remember distinctly where I was in the car, over which hill I drove around UT in Austin, when I kind of was processing in my mind, like, what is it about failure? Why am I so scared to try new things? And if I don't immediately feel like I'm good at it, I'm going to abandon it before anybody even sees that I paid attention to this. Because then they would witness me failing at this, and then they would probably, I don't know, laugh at me, make fun of me, or they would just know, oh man, she's not the brightest, or she's not the greatest at this, or she doesn't have any talent in that. And it was such an amazing shift for me to open myself, to allow myself to fail. And I'm sure you've heard this story that another speaker told, and I think it was even her own childhood, which I thought was so amazing, of her being like a 7-year-old girl and spilling milk, right? Big mistake, failure, right? Spilled milk. Me as an HSP would be like, oh my God, I'm so clumsy, I'm so klutzy, can't believe I did this. This never happens to anybody else, it just happens to me. No, their parent was like, ooh, what can we do with this? Ooh, let's check like the surface tension of the milk. Let's experiment with this. Which I'm just like, oh my God, can I incorporate that with my kid? That's amazing. And this same little girl would come home, when she was like in 5th grade and 6th grade, would come home, and at the dinner table, her dad would say, what did you fail at today? And like, we would hear that and we would be like, oh my God, so critical. No, her dad said, if you didn't fail at anything today, you didn't try hard enough. Wow, can you imagine growing up with that kind of mindset? Did you fail at something today? Then you must have not tried hard enough. So freeing. I definitely want to incorporate that in my life. Oh my gosh. And then I think this one is the last one. Performance is what you do, not who you are. I love that distinction between this is what you do versus who you are. I'm trying to train my brain to also speak to my kid like that when he does something that I don't enjoy, of saying it, this is the behavior, not you. You know, I love you. I didn't quite love so much what you did there, you know, making that distinction even for yourself of this is what I did, you know, because us HSPs, we're so hard on ourselves, you know? We made some kind of mistake and then we're like ruminating about it. Why did I do that? I'm so stupid. Why did I do this? Ugh. And so to like tell yourself, make that distinction. I made a mistake. I did something stupid. I should have taken my time, you know, whatever. But it's not a reflection on who I am. It's just a choice that I made in the moment and I've learned from it. And hopefully next time I can make a better decision or realize, oh, I was in overstimulation, you know, give myself a break for it. Yeah, that's another theme, right? Criticism, being able to take criticism from yourself, from other people. That was also a tough one, probably still is a little tough for me because we know so much about where we went wrong, right? If you give a speech, it's like you walk off that stage and you know exactly, oh man, this happened and that happened. I could have done this better. I could have prepared for this better. I love it. I forget what the book is called, but it's a book by Jack Canfield. It's a big old thick book by Jack Canfield. And he talks about exactly that. Like he walked off stage and he was in his car and his inner critic just like took over, like ripping him a new one about all the things he should have done and could have done and all this thing. And it was so beautiful because after that experience, he decided to befriend his inner critic and say, you know, I appreciate all this feedback, but I'd really like to receive it in a way that is less jarring on me, less degrading on me. So how could you, as my inner critic, talk to me where I still feel loved, where I feel like you wanting the best for me by giving me this feedback so that I can work on things and steadily improve? That was really helpful to read that. And then this quote, I will inspire people without saying a single word. Yes, sometimes I get a little bit poetic, which I also love, right? As an HSP, we're into the arts. But it was a little bit of, you know, me rebelling against that mandatory public speaking course. Oh my God. Did you rebel as a teenager or even early 20s, especially with anything to do with school? Oh my goodness, did I have my like temper tantrums of like, I don't want to do this. This assignment is so stupid. What is this even going to do for me? And then think about public speaking as a highly sensitive, right? Elaine Aron always mentions this of like, when we need to perform, even just like a violinist or a pianist, when we need to perform in front of an audience, that can already feel overstimulating, which then sends us into a chemical state in our bodies where it's not, you know, optimal level of performance. So imagine me in this like heightened state as an HSP, not wanting to do this public speaking course and having to do it. I was so mad. I was so rebelling against it. But, you know, it paid off. And I learned my little tricks of, oh, hey, if I speak about something that I really care about, it actually gets a lot easier. And the more you practice, the easier it gets, right? The more I stare at this green dot talking to you live, I notice it's different than when I just record videos for my YouTube channel, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Sometimes I still freak out about it internally. I'm like, okay, breathe, they're on your side. But we can train ourselves, right? What was the last thing I wanted to say? I guess because this journal was so much about self-worth and being yourself, there's a beautiful quote that Bashar says. He's a channel being. He's channeled by Daryl Anka. And he has a lot of wisdom. He's a great teacher. I really love listening to Bashar. And he says, your purpose in life here on earth is to be yourself. That is your purpose, is to be yourself. it's so profound when you think about it. If you're fairly early on in your spiritual journey, or just discovering you're an HSP and you're kind of hating it because it's kind of tumultuous at the moment, you probably hate this, to be like, my purpose is to be myself. This is stupid. This is pointless. And I don't want to be myself because I don't like who I am, right? But once you get a little bit further along on your path, once you've experimented and experienced a few more things, you will see just how profound that is. It's like, this is all you have to do. You just have to be yourself. You just have to just share with the world the uniqueness of who you are, which is so hard because, particularly as highly sensitives, we always want to fit in because we feel so alien, we feel so strange, we feel so different, we feel so weak, so we just want to be like everybody else. And yet your greatest strength and your greatest fulfillment will come from embracing who you are, discovering who you are, understanding who you are, and then sharing that with the world. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Journal number 3, and I'll see you again soon.